guys, we're back. We're back. Do you know? I wonder what time is it. Let's see. It's 4:01, and we're back for the stand in solidarity with Palestine. Palestine. We'll be starting here again soon. Been a day. There's William, my love. Here's Sal. We've got a crowd gathered here. Starting to gather here. Some people stayed from earlier. We were out here at noon. Earlier with say their names. Standing for the people that have been killed by the police and against police brutality. So we'll be starting soon, I'm sure.
would definitely pick like strategic days to do it where I didn't have to look that So we're about
Look what we got down here.
What do you have? What?
We've got Bumblebee.
Oh, of course.
Bumblebee. We got Bumblebee down here. Look at this, guys. Bumblebee. Bumblebee for Palestine. Woo! Bumblebee for Palestine. Hey! Hey! Look, it's Bumblebee for Palestine. Good too. Bumblebee. Who needs to put down the Kool-Aid? I don't know. I don't know. Woo.
And it's not simply a question of different views. Forget emotions, this is facts, what I spit is the truth. Makes no difference if you're a Christian or if you're a Jew. They're just people living in different conditions. To you, they still die when you bomb their schools, mosques and hospitals. It's not because of rockets, please God, can you stop this all? I'm not related to the strangers on the TV, but I relate, cause those strangers could have been me. Words can never ever explain the war tragedy. It's not a war, they just murdered me.
Alright, we are here today because the ceasefire is not enough, right?
Right. Ceasefire is not enough.
We are here today
Really
because
ceasefire
Gaza is still under siege, and that siege has lasted more than 14 years. We are here today because the second the Israeli government agreed to a ceasefire, they went and raided Al-Aqsa compound yet again, terrorizing the Muslim congregants there. For us, we're all here today to say enough is enough. Free Palestine now. I don't know about you all, but seeing all the images that are coming out of Gaza and out of Jerusalem has us exhausted. It has ripped into our lives in so many different ways. My good friend Aya and I were talking about that we couldn't even wear our Eid outfits, which we were so looking forward to at the end of Ramadan, because we just didn't feel right knowing that our brothers and sisters in Palestine are being brutally murdered every single day by the Israeli occupational force. And so seeing all of you here today is a healing energy for us. And it's a healing energy for each and every Palestinian that's here in the crowd, that is feeling this pain. But you also share this pain with us because the pain that we experience as Palestinians is a pain that many people here experience in the United States. When we have conversations such as police brutality, when we have conversations as forced migration. And so we really want to thank each and every one of you for being here today with us as supporters and allies. We need you all to be loud. Our group is a little small and there's still people on their way here now because a lot of people got caught up in the rain. So until they come here, I hope you all can make up for their missing voices. Can I get that? All right, I'm gonna do a couple of chants to get you all in the mood because I don't think that's the loudest you can go. Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Hell no, we won't go!
Hell no, we won't go!
The occupation's got to go!
The occupation's got to go!
Hell no, we won't go!
Hell no, we won't go!
The occupation's got to go!
The occupation's got to go!
I want you all to give a round of applause for my sister and Palestinian, Aya Ziada, who's going to get you all in the mood with an awesome poem of hers.
Oh, I'm too tall. She was literally tinier and now I'm too tall for the mic. Okay, it's fine. How are we doing today? Thank you. Okay, I'm a little too tall. All right. Thank you guys so much for being here today. I wasn't able to be here at the last one, but so many people sent me pictures and the energy was unmatched, so I want that same energy today, okay? Okay, this is a poem I wrote when I went to Palestine a few years ago for the first time ever. My grandparents, living, breathing history books, older than the birth of occupation, forced to flee their homes in 48. 4 beautiful souls, wrinkles serving as storylines, a monumental map securing the history of the motherland. Eyes that have captured it all, occupation, siege, violence, hearts that have managed to love and remain kind in spite of the loads of loss and pain. 2 out of many that keep our ground stable, even when the bombs are shaking it with the intentions of destruction. On the other side, they stand firm. 2 souls amongst thousands upon thousands that continue to prove the fact that we exist. But for how long? From 48 to 2021, 73 years, how long must innocent souls suffer? How long must the indigenous peoples of a land live through the fear of not knowing when their turn could come next, where a foreign settler violates their humanity and strips them of their worth, their history, where a mother will lose her son to a soldier's weapon as a punishment for tossing stones with his friends, where a family will lose their father to 25 years of prison as he walks home from work, where a family's home will be invaded by an unknown family, taken over, repressing their history, their existence, where a Palestinian in the diaspora is stripped of their right to return home, to get a taste of their motherland, where our history will be forgotten and our plight unacknowledged. How long will the world drown our voices out? Watch us as we suffer in agony, as we call for our human rights, as generation after generation calls for freedom, for dignity, for liberation. How long? What do we want? Freedom! What do we want it? Now! What do we want? Freedom! What do we want it? Now! Thank you.
Let's hear it again for Aya, please. It takes a lot of courage for Palestinian voices that have a continued relationship with their people in Palestine to come up here and speak, because every single day our voices are threatened in all different spheres. And there's also this really unjust list called the Canary Mission, which aims to identify American voices who speak in support of Palestinian human rights as a means for the Israeli government to ban them from going into Palestinian lands. And so, let's hear it once more for Aya Ziada, because that takes a lot of guts. Within Aya's poem, we heard her cry and her call for indigenous people to remain in their lands. And so we know that we stand on indigenous people's lands today, and this building violates the sanctity of indigenous people's lands. And so we want to take an opportunity to offer a land acknowledgement. And to offer that land acknowledgement, I want to introduce somebody who is very dear to me. So please hold your applause until I get through a little bit of this introduction here. Cheyenne Mcallister is an enrolled member of Cheyenne and Arapaho tribe of Oklahoma. Notably, her great-grandmother is the late Virginia Allrunner, who was the direct descendant of the Sand Creek Massacre, which is a massacre that Colorado refuses to acknowledge, and Peace Chiefs Black Kettle and Wolf Robe. Her family comes from a strong lineage of dog soldiers, which is a Cheyenne war society. On the other hand, Cheyenne's stepmother is Saba Nashhat, a longtime Palestinian immigrant who has seen firsthand the brutality of the Israeli occupation. From stories told through both women, Cheyenne has been able to connect the dots of colonization and has been instrumental in bringing Native American awareness to today's rally. Let's hear it for Cheyenne.
My Indian name is Mionahanit. That means morning killer woman in Cheyenne. I was named after my great-grandmother. I would like to welcome you all to my ancestral homeland. This is homeland of the Cheyenne and Arapaho people, as well as the Ute people. I would also like to recognize that a lot of Native Americans in North America have suffered genocide for hundreds of years in the U.S. Over 50 million indigenous people have been murdered and ethnically cleansed and oppressed throughout the generations, stripped of their language, culture, and everything else. As Nadine mentioned, I am a direct descendant from the Sand Creek Massacre that happened in 1864. My grandmother used to tell me about it all the time. Her grandfather was a baby at the time, and the mother of the baby had to put him on side of a saddle horse and whip him to another camp. And so if his mother didn't do that, I wouldn't be here today. They mutilated over 150 women and children and murdered them. After they did that, they took their cavalry and marched from Eads, Colorado, where the massacre happened, and brought their body parts here to Denver and had a parade with all of the body parts. So I just want to acknowledge that, because that's where we're standing now. In addition to Cheyenne and Arapaho people, like I said before, this is the homeland of Ute people as well. If you go also to the art museum, it says Nakiv Ha'yotzen. That means we have returned home in Cheyenne. I also just wanted to say that the American Indian movement has been in solidarity with the Palestinian struggle for self-determination since the 1970s, when the Palestinian Liberation Organization helped Russell Means establish the International Indian Treaty Council office in New York City as a catalyst for the current international indigenous peoples movement. With that, I would just like to end with a quote from Russell Means. When he was at the UN, he said, "Palestinians are the American Indians of the Middle East, and the American Indians are the Palestinians of the Americas." Thank you.
That was absolutely beautiful. Cheyenne told me that she doesn't do much public speaking, but felt compelled to come up here. I don't know about you all, but I was extremely moved by everything that she said, and I felt every bit of it. What do you all think? With the land acknowledgement, we also want to recognize that the Palestinian people are not the only oppressed people in this world. That as the Palestinians were being raided by the Israeli Defense Forces, a usual for them in many ways, in Gaza and in Jerusalem and in other parts of the West Bank, we also saw the state violence that was sanctioned in Colombia. We also see what's happening in Ethiopia. We also see what is happening in Venezuela. We also see what is happening in Myanmar with the Rohingya. We also see what is happening with the Uyghurs in China. And so I wanted this to be an opportunity for us to recognize that what we have here today should also be aligned and in direct intersectionality with all of the oppression that is going on in the world here right now. So I'd really like to take a moment here for about 15 seconds, a moment of silence for us to hold in our hearts and in our minds all of the places that are continuously experiencing genocides in its many different forms and state-sanctioned violence in its many different forms as well. For that. I really appreciate it. So with that being said, I'm sorry, sometimes it just gets really difficult. I wanted to take an opportunity and pause real quickly that there's a bunch of QR codes that are floating all over the crowd. If you see that QR code, I want you to click on it with your camera phone and bring up the link tree. The link tree that's going to come up, the first green box on that says Act Now, send a message to Congress. That message to Congress asks for your just basic information, name and address, and then it automatically sends emails to those individuals. We're keeping a live track on how we do as a crowd, because for each one that's sent out, we get a notification that it was sent out. So there's a running live tally on how many get sent out. And I'm hoping that we could get at least 100 out of this crowd. Is that possible? Okay, that was kind of weak, y'all. Is that possible? Okay, and the reason why I asked for that is because, just like PSL is holding right there, we want to stop U.S. funding to the Israeli apartheid. $3.8 billion of your taxpayer money goes every year to carry out the violence on the Palestinian people. Are you okay with that? No. Are you okay with that? No. And that's why we want to stop U.S. aid to Israel. Just the other day, the President of the United States, on May 5th, told Congress that he plans to make a little over a $700 million arms deal with Israel. Shame. People like AOC and Sanders and Talib spoke up and they said that we are introducing resolutions to say that we do not support that. And that was only possible by voices like yours. Okay, I feel like the crowd is a little down, so I'm gonna do a little bit of chanting and we'll go back into it. Are y'all okay with that? Okay, let's hear your voices. Okay. From the river to the sea.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
Palestine will be free.
Hell no, we won't go.
Hell no, we won't go.
The occupation's got to go.
The occupation's got to go.
Hell no, we won't go.
Hell no, we won't go.
The occupation's got to go.
The occupation's got to go.
Free, free Palestine.
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 Are you all feeling a little bit better? Okay. I think the weather is kind of discouraging us a little bit. I feel like some people might be hesitant as to whether or not the rain might be coming in. As far as we know, it's a no. If not, we have some shade just in case. I wanted to bring up a number of speakers now to the stage that are really going to put into perspective the parallels that we experience between the Israeli apartheid and what's happening in the United States. And you'll see that there's quite a lot of comparisons around that. But before I want to go into that, I do want to remind us that last year in May around this time, we saw George Floyd be publicly murdered and lynched for millions around the world to see. And justice was not achieved until a few months ago. That same type of knee to the neck is the same type of images that you're seeing coming out of Palestine. Because guess what? There's a strong relationship between law enforcement here in the United States and the Israeli Defense Force. If anything, they get bonus pays for them agreeing to be trained by the IDF soldiers. I don't know about you all, but I'm not okay with that. In fact, just right behind you over here is the Mcneill Institute, which prides itself on counterterrorism, which is completely rooted in Islamophobia in every which way, which is an extremely pro-Zionist institution, has continuously recruited law enforcement officers to learn tactics like Krav Maga, as well as a number of the other tactics employed by the IDF soldiers, and have even taken law enforcement officers here from Denver and sponsored their trips and their trainings in Israel in hopes that they would come back here and do the same as they are doing to the Palestinians. So the movement to end police brutality is a movement that the Palestinians stand behind. The movement to stop the wall from being built along the Mexico border is the very same type of wall that I'm asking to be taken down from the front of my grandmother's house. The same type of images of us saying we don't want children in cages is the same types of images that we see in Palestinian children being recruited and picked up repeatedly by the IDF soldiers, only to be thrown in prisons where they experience solitary confinement. And then not only that, but are marked for the rest of their lives. I had more than 25% of my cousins that were picked up by IDF soldiers for absolutely no reason, thrown into solitary confinement for several months, not given any type of trial by any means, and then simply told, go back into society. Those people do not have a job now. They are scared anytime anybody comes and knocks on their door. Their entire lives are ruined at the hands of the IDF soldiers. And so it's the same type of pictures that we see here by the Department of Homeland Security, which actually only came into existence after 9/11, carrying out the same type of atrocities on children that are crossing the border, on the Mexican-American border. And so I don't know about you, but I'm not okay with that either. And so I wanted to bring up to the stage here today Rob Prince, who is from the Center for Justice in Palestine, to share some words with us. Rob Prince has been a continuous advocate with the Palestinians ever since I started coming up to these steps back in 2014. Rob Prince has been there every step of the way. So please join me welcoming Rob Prince.
Hello. Really, between, is it Aya who made the poems? Aya and Nadine, I don't have anything left to say. They've said it all. Actually, I always have something to say. But having said that, I wanted to start off perhaps in an unusual way. I want to read some names to you, and then I'll tell you who they were. Fayez Abdelaziz, Nizar Badwan, Fuad Muhaysin, Ziad Mughrabi, Hamza Alami, Muhammad Judah, Syed Wadan. These names, I notice some of you know those names, but most of you don't. These are Palestinians from Denver. These are Palestinians from Denver who were here in 1973 on these steps, who were here in 1982 in these steps, who were here every time that Gaza was attacked after 2000. And these were my dear Palestinian friends. And so if I'm here today, they're with me, and they've always been with me. When we used to come here, maybe there'd be 20 of us, maybe 30. I mean, sometimes maybe it would get to 50. So to see the size, not just the size, but the spirit of the demonstration last week, last Friday, it was something I can't even begin to tell you what it meant to me. That finally something has broken. And what has broken has been the Zionist narrative. Okay? All right. I want to make a couple of quick remarks. First, this little Center for Freedom and Justice, basically what we are is an informal sister city organization. We're like 7 or whatever, that tries to do projects and stays in touch with a town in the West Bank called Beit Umar. Beit Umar is in Area C. Beit Umar has the largest percentage of Israeli youth that are in Israeli prisons. Supposedly 1/3 of all Israeli kids who are in prisons come from Beit Umar. And the purpose of this is real simple, without going into too many details. Is to maintain an enduring relationship with Palestine on a people level. My sense is those are the kind of relationships, those enduring relations. The politics follows. The politics follows. So I wanted to just mention that. But mostly what I want to talk about is racism. What racism is and what racism isn't. All right? And I wanted to start by giving you 2 more names. One you might know a little bit better. He was mentioned last week, and I was so pleased that he was. Elijah Mcneill. All right. So for those of you who don't know who Elijah Mcneill is, Mcneill is a young man who was walking home, I think with a cup of tea in his hand, and
Elijah McLean.
McLean. I'm sorry, thank you. It's age, okay. Cup of tea for no reason, and the next thing you know, he's dead. There was no shot by the Aurora police. One of the many incidents we've seen in this last period, egregious racist attack. Here's another name for you. His name is Ahad Kokas, Kokas. I don't imagine too many of you know that name, but he comes from Beit Umar. And he had opened what we would call a candy store in Beit Umar and had gone to a market outside the nearby settlement. And a vigilante shot him for no reason. So whether it's in Palestine or Aurora, the racism is the same. There's no difference, okay? Those cops in Aurora, as Nadine mentioned, were trained, at least in part, by the IDF and the Israeli police. That's the connection. It's one struggle, whether it's Aurora, whether it's Denver, or whether it's Palestine. All right. So I wanted to say that. Now, what I really want to talk about, as someone who's had a little experience in this, is being accused of being anti-Semitic because you support the Palestinians. And I want to talk about this because this has had great psychological impact. You know, you support the Palestinians, and all of a sudden some Zionist friend or Zionist non-friend accuses you of being racist. All right? Right? Now, they don't just do that. Also, in the last week, there was a young man, I think he was from both I heard him say he was from the party, Party for Socialism, and also from New Jewish Agenda. And he talked about how, because of his activism, that he didn't say who, but somebody from the Zionist community had gone to his job and asked that he be fired. Okay? Asked that he be fired. Now, it rang a bell with me because it happened to me 4 times. I was never fired, but it was close once, and there's something about that that's really, for me, is outrageous. So what I want to propose here is that we think about some kind of defense organization, that when these things happen, we go to those employers and we say, no, these people are fighting against racism. They're not fighting for racism. Okay, now this, again, just taking this one little step further. Here's what they do. I mean, let's put it right out there. To this crowd, it's easy to do. Zionism is racism. It's simple. Zionism is a form of settler colonialism. The Cheyenne sister who made the comparison between what happened to the Cheyenne people and what happened to Palestinian people, absolutely right on. Okay? It's not even debatable. So what is it, though, that the racists do to neutralize you? They accuse you of racism. That's what they do. They accuse you of racism. Anti-racists are accused of racism. How do we fight that? I'm sure there are many ways. And among some of my friends who are much better at dialogue than I am, they can talk and have discussions. What I've come to is this. Whenever I'm accused of that, I say, no, you're the racists. We have to fight that. This is an anti-racist struggle. So look, last point, we got a job to do, obviously. That job is to change U.S. policy. All right? Be it by BDS, which is basically a beautiful movement, frankly, based on the civil rights movement in the 1960s. Based it on cutting U.S. military aid and using that money where it's needed in the cities here. Okay. Finally, this is what you need to keep in mind. Those of you who are a little younger than some of us, the Palestinian people are resilient. And their resilience will keep you, fellow Americans, from getting bitter and keep you in this in the long run, because we got a lot of work to do. I thank you, Long Live Palestine.
Justice is our demand. No peace on stolen land. Justice is our demand. No peace on stolen land. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Join me in welcoming our next speaker, Dr. April Alexander, who is known for her racial justice work and is a psychology professor. Through and through, absolutely phenomenal academic as well as racial justice warrior. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Alexander.
Good afternoon, beautiful people. There's a famous statement: we're not free until we all are free. We're not free until we all are free. When we talk about liberation movements, we mean freedom for all people. We mean this as a global movement. A lot of times we get together nation by nation and are thinking about ourselves, especially in the Western society where we're an individualistic culture. But when we're talking about true liberation, I'm thinking about freedom for all people. What does that look like? Even when we were talking about the Black Lives Matter movement, we were talking about public safety. And what does that mean? When they talk about the prison industrial complex, the military industrial complex, they say, well, we need these individuals. They keep us safe. How many of you feel safe? How many of us feel safe walking home? How many of us feel safe in our houses? So when I talk about liberation and when I talk about public safety, I'm envisioning a world where we're all free and we're all safe. When I think about liberation, I also think about intersectionality, which we just heard a few minutes ago. The term intersectionality has become this buzzword and has been misused so many different times. But what we're talking about is the marginalization and oppression of people of different identity statuses. Thinking about intersectionality, we need to be thinking about intersectional issues across the board. When we're talking about liberation movements, we've been talking about the Chicano movement, the women's movement, the Black Lives Matter movement, the civil rights movement in the 1960s, abolish ICE, freedom for Palestine. All of these things are together. All of these things are related. But they bank on us staying separate. They bank on us not being united. They bank on us forgetting. They bank on us getting tired. Anytime I come up here, I said, keep coming. Keep showing up. Keep showing up for all of these causes. Because they're all interrelated, but they don't want us to think that they're interrelated. When we've been talking about decarceral systems for our people who are imprisoned, we're talking about Palestine. When we're talking about freedom for folks, we're talking about Palestine. That's why I'm here today. What are our next steps? As we heard earlier, our own U.S. system, our own tax dollars are contributing $3.8 billion to this genocide. One of the reasons I unfortunately couldn't make it to last week's rally is one of my areas of specialty is trauma, and I was actually talking about trauma during last week's rally. When we're talking about trauma, we need to be thinking about not only the individual trauma that many folks here may have experienced, but actually the intergenerational and historical trauma that has been plaguing communities across the globe. When I'm sitting home and I'm reading that 50% of the people who have been slaughtered, who have been murdered in Palestine were children, what is the damage doing to our world? When I see these children who are living lose their parents, that's generations and generations of trauma. Article came out this week on adverse childhood experiences. Once you start experiencing more and more, your life expectancy is cut by 19 years. And that gets compounded from person to person, family to family, generation to generation. So when we're talking about these various liberation movements, I need each and every person to be informed, to show up, to get that QR code and let the decision makers know how we feel. I want us all to be here, to love and support each other. I want us here to be thinking about how we can truly be free. So join me. We're not free. We're not free. Free Palestine. Thank you for your time.
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
2468!
2468!
Israel's an apartheid state!
Israel's an apartheid state!
3579!
3579!
Freedom for Palestine!
Freedom for Palestine!
2468!
2468!
Israel's an apartheid state!
Israel's an apartheid state!
3579!
3579!
Freedom for Palestine!
Freedom for Palestine!
Hearing Dr. Alexander talk about generational trauma had me reflecting the other day on the Gazan statistics. The people in Gaza are not only experiencing generational trauma, they are experiencing their people be killed. Entire families, entire generations, entire family names have been gone forever at the hands of the Israeli government because they think calling somebody 38 seconds before bombing their house is sufficient time to get a family of over 30 people in an entire apartment complex out of their place. And that's not just. That's not self-defense. With that being said, I wanted to take an opportunity now to invite a brother from Gaza to the stage. He is a filmmaker. And with that being said, please join me in welcoming Majd Abu Hamada up to the stage.
I'm a dead man walking. I'm a dead man walking. A mute man talking. A blind man watching. Our brothers die. And I've built our coffins much too often. And it gets so dark when our mothers cry. I stand before you as another Hail Mary attempt to remind those who would like to be reminded, and to remind those who would like not to be reminded, and eventually to remind or to inform those who do not know. Dearest brothers and sisters, it's such an odd situation for me to stand before you here today, as the bombs were raining over Gaza by the Israeli occupation war machines, and my people are being humiliated in every injustice and inhumane war crime being held against them by the world's fourth strongest army, the Israeli occupation entity, supported financially and with arms with over $4 billion annually. I would like to say that I'm speaking on behalf of more than 2 million people in Gaza today, but I can't. I would love to, but I can't. I've been there, witnessing the genocides and the massacres taking place day after day. I'm not here to provide statistics. You can look them up. I cannot simply conclude a life, a human life, in just a number. I cannot conclude memories and dreams and aspiration in just a number. While we stand here, Gaza is grieving the loss of its children and women and elders and youth. Some of them are still being taken out from underneath the rebels of what the Israeli occupation did to them. We have aspirations, we have dreams, and we have a hope of having a dignified, fair life, just like everyone else. As everyone's treating the Palestinians as if we do not have them. Just in a blink of an eye, you can lose your house, lose a father, a son, a wife, a sister, a mother, a grandfather, a grandmother, anyone. In just a blink of an eye, your life is done. We're done. Like, let's say we have 30 seconds to run away for our lives right now. Let's say we have a bomb threat in this park. What would you do? What would you take with you? What's left of you after you run away? What would you be thinking when you're running away? What would you be holding in your hands? Would you be able to hold your baby, your father, your son, your sister, your brother? What our 30 seconds are enough for? Self-defense, claimingly, allegedly. The aftermath of the aggression is the unspoken trauma no one can ever narrate. It's the denial of the life going back to how it was before. Still breathing does not mean that you're alive. It's impossible to accept that what's gone is gone. Let's start over. Yeah, I lost a son, I lost a family, I lost my life. Let's start over. How ironic. All of this is oppression and injustice sponsored by the United States of America. Every day and everywhere, they are trying to support them in every possible way, just to support the Israeli occupation killing machine to keep on going with its systematic apartheid, ethnic cleansing, and genocide. The old will die and the young will forget, they say. But no matter what we do, we will never forget. The Israeli occupation is sparing no effort whatsoever to make us kneel and break our steadfastness. But look at you. They should look at you, see what I see in front of me. We will never go down without a fight. We will not go down, no matter what, even if the last thing we do is screaming at the top of our lungs that Palestine will be free. We need to take action right now, today, not tomorrow. They always say tomorrow, tomorrow. No, we need to take action now. Change has to be taken now against all the unlawful Israeli occupation measures of displacing the Palestinian families. We need the international community to uphold the law and to enforce the UN resolutions. We need the internationals to recognize the state of Palestine. We need to enforce the BDS movement. And most importantly, and I cannot stress that enough, most importantly, we need the whole world to stop denying our rights as human beings. Every country Every country has the right of a safe life and a secure life, but never, never, and again I say never, never on the expense of the other people. It's time for the change. It's time to hold the Israeli occupation accountable for their crimes. Usually, this is where I say thank you for being here and thank you for taking part in this. But this is not a place to be grateful or to be thankful. This is a part to be joining the resistance.
Long live Palestine!
Long live Palestine!
Long live Palestine!
Long live Palestine!
Who here is part of the resistance? Who here is part of the resistance? Who here is part of the resistance? Let's give another round to our brother Majd. The next group that we're going to have come up here is a young group of Palestinian children who have a poem to share with us all today to really put into perspective what it is that they are feeling.
Hello, my name is Serene Ziad Wahdad. Hello, my name is Lamia Madan Al-Aswad. Hello, my name is Janine Abdullah Sulaiman.
Hello, my name is Jannah Abdullah Sulaiman.
Today we will be presenting two poems. The first one is A War-Torn Child by Hafsa Bashir, and the second one is a poem written by a child from Gaza. I will tell God everything. The sharp metal pieces taken out of my stomach will all come with me. I will tell God everything and ask if the men with the guns and the airplanes with fire will all get in trouble. I will tell God everything and ask if the lightning in the sky was him taking photos. If not, I'll give him my drawing. I will tell God everything, that Mama's face was gone, but I found Baba's feet and put them together like shoes. With all your armies, all your fighters, all your tanks, and all your soldiers, against a boy holding a stone, standing there alone.
I only wonder, who is weak and who is strong, who is right and who is wrong. And I only wish the truth had a tongue.
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Long live Palestine!
Long live Palestine!
Let's hear it once again for these phenomenal Palestinian children. Free
Palestine!
Gaza. Long live Gaza.
Long live Gaza!
Long live Gaza.
Long live Gaza!
I love it. I love the energy. Keep it coming and I'll pick it up as I hear it. We're here today as a community. You know, I find it very interesting that Israel thought that they could fool us with their ceasefire, because they tried a week and a half ago to fool us with them deciding to delay the Court of Appeals around the families in Sheikh Jarrah. But it's that they still plan to carry out what's happening in Sheikh Jarrah. And that's why we need all of you to still continue to be here. That's why we need all of you to continue to take a picture of those QR codes. Send out those letters now. All I need is your name and your address, and they will get a message from us. Because guess what? The pro-Zionist AIPAC infrastructure is $90 million strong. That's how much money they put into lobbying to silence the Palestinian voices and to silence the Palestinian cause. But I don't know about you, but I think you all are a lot stronger than $90 million. One of our greatest allies in a lot of the work that we do is Jewish Voice for Peace. So I want to bring up our brother Evan Wiesman to come and share with us a bit about JVP and what are the current local efforts around expressing solidarity with the Palestinians.
Yeah. It's always hard to follow beautiful children doing poetry, but if we can, just take 7 seconds to think for a second, because this is about people. Think about all the people that were recently killed, that were displaced, and that were harmed. For about 7 seconds, just give thought to them. And then take another 7 seconds to extend it outward to their friends and family and loved ones, many of which are here today. What are they feeling? What are they thinking? And then take another 7 seconds and go out even more to the people who are doing the killing, doing the brutalizing, doing the displacing. What are they thinking? What are they feeling? And then go one more to the people who are ordering them to do that, to the people who are paying for it. And think of all those folks. So I'm here today, I'm here first and foremost as a human being, and I think if you've seen what's been going on, not just for 70 years, but specifically over the past week or two, that if your heart isn't bruised by that, you need to check and make sure it's still in there. And I do wonder why there aren't more people here, just as human beings. But I'm also here today as a Jew. Now, my family has a very uncomplicated history with anti-Semitism. We were hunted around for generations, from the Middle East, from Spain, up to the Pale of Settlement in Europe. And then finally, after the latest pogrom, the latest ethnic cleansing, half of my family escaped and came to the United States, and the other half went to Palestine. And this was a half a century before the state of Israel was formed, the nation state. And I tell you that because there is a bit of complexity into why Jews wanted to form, some Jews wanted to form a nation state. There was complication in that. But when you talk with a lot of people, especially a lot of Jews and American Jews, they'll tell you how complex this situation is. And that's where I disagree. Because Jews were pushed. Yeah, sure. Jews were pushed or jumped out of a burning building and landed on Palestinians. But after 73 years, when the boot is still on the neck, that's not complex. There's nothing complex about that. And the reason that I'm bringing that up here, and this was echoed by other people that have already spoken, is the fight against anti-Semitism is the exact same fight as the liberation of Palestine. All struggles for liberation and for justice work together in that way. So I'm also here as an American. And as people have said, we are part of the military empire. And what's going on in Palestine is not Palestine versus Israel in an even-handed battle and the US steps in to broker peace. It's the United States, the world's superpower, and the fourth largest military, as my brother said, against the Palestinians. So, what we can do, yes, we can lobby. Yes, we can try to change the laws. Yes, we must boycott and divest from companies who are profiting from the occupation. And I'll add one more thing, which is not systemic, which I think is the most important thing. And it's personal. It's individual. And it's something that I think people should look more into, which is stop paying those taxes. Individually, it's a very scary and complicated thing, but we can stop paying war taxes because each one of these tanks and these helicopters and these guns that spread all around this country, all around the world to kill people is theft from our kids and our grandkids, from their education, from their health care. And so we can also lead by example by not paying. And I'd say you can look at the National War Tax Resistance Coordinating Committee, because it is an interesting thing that does cost us. It costs you individually to do so. So I'm speaking mostly to other Americans and to other Jews when I say that, and to other white people. And so the last thing I'll say is, echoing Dr. Alexander there, is to keep showing up, because this is a beautiful thing. I've been coming here for the past 20 years in Denver, and this is growing, and it's annoying, and it's sad, and it's horrible to have to be here. But if we keep coming, and we keep coming, and we keep coming, we will win. Thank you.
Okay, Sada, I hear you out in the crowd. If you want to lead us in chants, you can come to the front, homegirl. Because I can't hear you that well. Yeah, come. Sada is a fellow Palestinian sister who a number of her family members were kicked out of their ancestral Palestinian lands as part of the 1948 Exodus.
Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Long live Gaza! Long live Gaza! From the river to the sea! From the river to the sea! Palestine will be free! Palestine will be free! Hell no, we won't go! Hell no, we won't go! The occupation has got to go! The occupation's got to go! بنروح بالدم نفديك يا فلسطين! بنروح بالدم نفديك يا فلسطين. بنروح بالدم نفديك يا فلسطين. بنروح بالدم نفديك يا فلسطين. يا صهيوني اطلع برا. يا صهيوني اطلع برا. فلسطين حرة حرة. فلسطين حرة حرة. يا صهيوني اطلع برا. يا صهيوني اطلع برا. فلسطين حرة حرة. فلسطين حرة حرة.
The chants that she shared in Arabic, as just a quick translation, the last one was, "You Zionists, get out, get out. Palestine is free, free." Then the first one that she said is, "With our blood, with our soul, with our blood, we will free Palestine. And we will save Palestine." Okay, on this route of bringing up phenomenal Palestinian women, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our next speaker, who's also our representative here in the Colorado State Legislature, Iman Judah.
Assalamu alaikum. Marhaba. Like Nadine said, my name is Iman Judah, and I am the first Palestinian Muslim representative! I work in this building behind us, and they're up there right now, and I'm going back. And just like I'm gonna go back there, we're gonna keep coming back here. And I think this is our third week in a row. Our third week in a row, and this crowd gets bigger and bigger. But it makes me very sad that we have to keep coming back and back and back. Is it pathetic? Or are we strong? Is it depressing? Or are we empowered? Honestly, I don't know. But it does make me know one thing for sure, that it does depress me that we have to keep meeting like this. I think there's one thing that we all know, is that all of the speakers before me have recognized, just like every single one of you we are living in trauma. Not only are Palestinians living in 70 years, plus trauma, but the past 4 years, we are living in a collective trauma of Me Too, Black Lives Matter, and now the Palestinian movement. That means that when we recognize occupation, when we recognize trauma, when we recognize together oppression, we come out. Look at the people around you. Look at every single person next to you. They're not all Palestinian. They're not all Muslim. As a matter of fact, from where I'm standing, I could easily say 75% of you are not Palestinian and Muslim, and so thank you for coming out. Today's Saturday, it's the Shabbat, and a very good Jewish friend of mine came to me and said, Iman, my rabbi said something very interesting today in our sermon. She said to me that Jews in America have a reckoning coming. A reckoning because we as Jews have to learn. We have to learn about 1948 because we as Jews never did, because Palestinians are still living in 1948. Friends, we are building a movement. Building a movement to stop the violation of human rights. It's as simple as that. Will you show up to stop the violation of human rights? Will you join us to stop the violation of human rights? Will you join us? What ceasefire? We need to keep coming back to end the unjustified colonialism that is happening in Palestine. We need to keep showing up to end the checkpoints. We need to keep showing up to take down that wall. We need to keep showing up when we can enter Jerusalem at our own desire. When we can go worship at the Aqsa when we choose to go. When we are not held at the airport and humiliated when we want to go to our homeland. We need to keep showing up when we are no longer victims and refugees in our own homeland. Will you show up? Don't be complacent, because that's what they're counting on. They're counting on us, like she said, to forget, to get comfortable, to the ceasefire, for the weather to warm up, for us to hit the mountains, and then what? This goes away, but they're still living in it. It's not fair. I've said this for 3 weeks. I've said it before, but now I can say it in full truth. I am an elected official. Everything that Nadine has said, these QR codes, that's how you get the attention. Build a coalition, send your representative and senator the letters, call them. The more they do that, the more they take notice. Trust me, I know, I have a staff. When we get those letters, we read them. The more we get the letters about the same issue, we really take note. Something must be happening in our community. I've been having these conversations with our legislators. I've been doing what I can do with this badge to the extent possible. But that's only to the extent possible. I need to lean on you to build that coalition, to build that movement, so we can finally live to the day where we see Palestine as a free and just country. Thank you so much.
free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Hell no, we won't go.
Hell no, we won't go.
The occupation's got to go.
The occupation's got to go.
Brick by brick.
Brick by brick.
Wall by wall.
Wall by wall.
Apartheid has got to fall.
Apartheid has got to fall.
Brick by brick.
Brick by brick.
Wall by wall.
Wall by wall.
Apartheid has got to fall.
Apartheid has got to fall.
Following Representative Iman's leadership, I wanted to provide you all an update. We have 79 letters sent. Can we get it to 100 in the next couple of minutes? Okay, help us get it to 100, because we're getting really close to marching. And I hope you all plan to stay here with us and march with us as well to raise awareness. Once again, the QR codes are listed everywhere around us. So pull out your phones, pull up the QR code, put your name and put your address, and get those letters sent out to Congress. So please help us get to 100. I'm actively watching this. While you all are doing that, I want to go ahead and take an opportunity to bring up a sister of ours who's an abolitionist and a really key member of the Colorado Freedom Fund. Many of us know because there's a hashtag that was trending around her, hashtag inspired by Elizabeth. Please join me in welcoming Elizabeth Epps to the stage.
Good afternoon. Every time I speak, it's the first time I've ever spoken, and I have no idea how to do this. Does this work? Okay. So I'm Elizabeth Epps. I'm going to give you a heads up that you're going to have to listen to me until she gets to 100. So scan your QR codes and do what our sister has asked us to do. I am an abolitionist, and I live and labor here in the Arapaho land that we call Denver. Thank you to our friend, I don't see her now, who brought the land acknowledgement. It is always relevant, y'all, to name the land and to name the people who settlers and colonizers have ravaged. But it is even more important to do so on a day like today, when we gather to stand in solidarity with Palestine, with Palestinians, with the people who continue to endure occupation and forced displacement and genocide. We have to name the thing for what it is, and expulsion from their land. When I tell you that I'm an abolitionist, are there any other abolitionists here? So we're not going to do a primer on abolition, but I do want to ask you to trust me on a few key points. I hope that the abolitionists here will vouch for me on this, that Zionism is not compatible with abolition, okay? Settler colonialism, violence that is being inflicted in the name of the state that calls itself Israel, is incompatible with abolition. And so in our moments together, I want to lift back up something you've already heard today about Black and Palestinian solidarity. I love how we handle things on our own, without cops, okay? That's always how we handle things. Our struggles, our movements are parallel, and so our work to liberate must be parallel as well. As you've heard, as you know, we approach a date that marks 1 year. 1 year since police officers murdered George Perry Floyd Jr. I say his name, but there's some folks in this building who really need to keep his name out of their mouth. That's a separate talk. May 25th is one date, but there are so many, y'all. Is there a date on the calendar that Black Americans haven't had to mourn one of our own killed by cops? Is there a date on the calendar that Palestinians haven't had to grieve or bury someone they've loved in the past 14 years? Our struggles are parallel. The force that we saw state gunmen from Denver to Minneapolis across the country, the brutal efforts to oppress our uprising, this was not new last year. Y'all know this. It was just the newest. And that brutal response, actually what I want to say in this moment is something more specific. Palestinians have known for decades about BLM. BLM, by the way, is the Black Liberation Movement. And Palestinians have known and worked together with us for generations. And we've spoken at high levels about our struggles, but I want to make sure you understand, y'all, that there's an even more direct connection. Were any of you in our streets in 2014? Were any of you a part of that uprising then? I hope so. And in 2014, when we took the streets in Ferguson and nationwide, understand that it was Palestinians under Israeli occupation who offered us advice on how to deal with the effects of the gas that Denver police was unleashing on us, okay? It was them who taught us how to protect our lungs and how to protect our babies and protect our eyes. They taught us how to do that. So the connection isn't just philosophical, though the philosophical one matters as well. This is a direct sort of connection in our liberation. And I want you to just consider that, if you will, that while the IDF trains American soldiers, Palestinians teach us how to protect ourselves from cops. Those canisters of toxic gases released in Gaza and Ferguson were manufactured here. You know that American government hands aren't clean. Not going to talk too much longer. How many? I want to update from Nadine. I'm very serious. You're going to hear from me till she gets her 100 letters. 90. There are some basic propositions that should not be controversial. But because it's so often the racists who control public narrative, these notions are controversial, but I'm going to invite you to adopt them and accept that you cannot both sides ethnic cleansing, okay? You cannot both sides, there's no both sides to genocide. You cannot, or I should say you shouldn't and you can't with discernment or with intellectual integrity, both sides the war that is being committed upon Palestinians. These human rights violations have parallels, you know these parallels. Y'all, it would be, just to be blunt with it, it would be vile and condemnable if all the United States did was turn a blind eye. That would be dreadful. It would be morally repugnant if all the USian government did was look the other way. But instead, what her government is doing in our name is so much worse than ignoring. Our government is arming and equipping and facilitating. They've asked you if you would allow this, and I hope your answer is no. Y'all, your president has said, you may have heard this, and too many elected officials working in this building as well, present company obviously excluded, but they've said that this phrase that Israel has a right to self-defense. Well, I encourage you to, in your quiet moments, sit with that and interrogate that sentence, that Israel has a right to self-defense, because I ask you to reject it, not because it's false on its face, but because it's built on a lie. It's built on an insidious lie. It's repulsive because it suggests, we know this, right? That narratives that center colonizers are always built on lies, but that one is particularly insidious. To say that an occupying force has the right to defend itself? It's the all lives matter of international relations. So, I want to speak in the sort of final third as she's getting her QR codes. Here I'm projecting. There's a psychologist here. I'm projecting. I'm talking to those of you who either directly or indirectly have had an excuse for too long that you weren't involved because you didn't understand, right? You didn't feel like you were an expert on the subject. Sure, we can point to Gaza on a map, but you didn't feel like you understood the history or the conflict, as they want to tell us, well enough to know what to do. That is no longer an excuse, y'all, okay? That is no longer an excuse. Palestinians are teaching us. Jews for Peace are teaching us. I especially encourage you to listen to Black women Jews who are teaching us. And when I say I'm talking to those of us who feel like this, it's acknowledging how I've fallen short. But when you're hearing messages from your government, consider what you know to be true, what rings true and what doesn't. The same people, often elected but not always, but the same people who congratulate Black mothers as they cradle Black children who've been shot are the same people who remark on the resiliency of the Palestinian people. I don't know, I don't get to speak for Palestine, but as a Black woman, I'm really tired of being strong and tired of being resilient, right? We deserve opportunities for rest and play, not just for constant resiliency. So, I'm saying this to suggest that when you hear your government make a statement about what Israel has a right to do, consider if those are the same people who say to you, cops have a right to get home safely. okay? Those are the same people who are suggesting that the people with the power and the guns and the weapons have the rights. So that's the lens through which you can interrogate it. And we do this all while Palestinian families are digging children out from rubble, even this weekend. A note about children. I want to think how to say this cautiously, because even I just commented on mothers and children. Push back, y'all, sometimes on the narrative about children, because we fight for children, absolutely. But we also fight for the children who lived into adulthood, okay? So the ones who managed to survive an occupation and become adults, right? And we often speak about unarmed and peaceful. And yes, we fight for them, but I can't cuss. We fight for those who are unarmed and who are peaceful. But we have to rally for the grown men and women who fight back too, okay? Right? So I invite you to do that. Yes, the babies, but we fight for the grown folks who survived into adulthood and who are fighting back. Have you done enough? Have you done enough to speak up for Palestine? Have you done enough to resist the government equipping? Have you done enough? For most of us, certainly not all, but for most of us, the answer is no. We haven't done enough. I haven't done enough. I haven't said enough. For those of you who have carried this work for generations, thank you. We owe you. We are listening. For those of you who have not done enough, for those of us who have not, we commit to changing that. It is your work to find your work and do the work. It's kind of simplified. It is your work to educate yourself and activate. I'm looking for Nadine. Oh, well, I'm gonna wrap up, but.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Viva Gaza! 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 Gaza Gaza بلد العزة! Gaza Gaza بلد العزة! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
That is our uncle, Palestinian uncle, 83 years old, older than the apartheid state. He is our living proof that Palestinians were there well before that apartheid state came into existence. Okay, the update is we have 282 letters sent so far. That was in just a few minutes of listening to our sister Elizabeth Epps. I want you to get us to 500 in the next 3 minutes while we hear our next speaker and get ready to march.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
Now, while we do this, 500, share with your friends. You know the instructions. It's easy. Everyone knows how to do this during COVID. Scan it. Send it to your friends. 500.
Sorry. So some of you, I see friends, and some of you who are friends who have been in this movement or been in this work know how we often end one segment of work and as we move into the next. I'm honored to be here today, and as I ask you, our organizers have asks, and I have 3 asks for you as well. One is to follow them online and off and do what they ask, right? Whether it's QR codes, education, marching. The second is a point of personal privilege. Bring your babies, your young neighbors, your young siblings, bring them. Thank you for those who did today. And the third, and I say that, y'all, I have a 24-year-old and I don't have many parenting regrets, but one of my few regrets is I thought I was protecting him by not bringing him more to work. So don't make that mistake. Bring your babies, bring your neighbors, bring your siblings. The third ask is one that was asked of me, which is that as we transition into the next part, that as we're thinking about Black liberation, BLM, the Black Liberation Movement, its connection to Palestine and Palestinian struggle, that we end with the words of this section of Asada Shakur. And so many of you know this chant. I know many of you know this chant. We say this because it is universal, it's said across the globe, and because the hope is that you'll really take to heart what she taught us. And I get emotional even thinking about it, but just think about it as your actual duty. Because we are tired, but we press on anyway. Why? Because we understand that it is our duty to do this. So we're gonna say this 3 times through. When we say it the first time, you're gonna say it to yourself, you're saying it to your own soul, you're acknowledging that you're considering accepting it as being one of your own guiding principles. When we say it the second time, we say it louder and we raise our voices because we're saying it so that our folks in this building, who apparently only get certain work done when they can hear us, right? We're saying it so they can hear and so that our neighbors in the cage can hear. And when we say it the third time, you're shouting it from the top of your lungs, and you're shouting it so that if it were possible, that across these racist and man-made borders, that across lies, that all of our friends and comrades could hear it. Does that make sense? Okay. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. It is our duty to win. We must love each other and support each other. We must love and support each other. We have nothing to lose but our chains. We have nothing to lose but our chains. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. It is our duty to win. We must love each other. We must love each other. And support each other. And support each other. We have nothing to lose but our chains. We have nothing to lose but our chains. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. It is our duty to win. We must love each other. We must love each other. And support each other. And support each other. We have nothing to lose but our chains. 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 Ashe.
Love you, Elizabeth! Free Palestine! Free, 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 free Palestine! Viva Gaza! 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 Gaza Gaza بلد العزة! Gaza Gaza بلد العزة!
All right, y'all, we are at 336 letters and counting. Keep them coming in strong. Let's get to that 500. But just before we jump into the march, let me invite our sister, who is a spoken word artist, a poet, as well as a small business owner. Let's invite Jenna Farouk to the stage.
How y'all doing? Thank y'all for having me, and I pray that God gives us victory. What is justice? At a foundational level, it's the very thing all of our mamas told us growing up. Treat others how you want to be treated. I want to live in a world where seeking justice is at the forefront of all that we do. Seeking justice in the most humane way possible. This should be the norm. I don't want the value of life to depend on our ethnicity or religion. I want babies across the globe to grow up happy and healthy without the threat of violence constantly looming over their heads. I want Palestinians to live in peace just as I want the Israelis to live in peace. What's happening right now in Palestine is a tragedy. The loss of any human life is a complete failure. In these recent attacks, 258 lives have been lost total. 12 of those have been Israeli. The remaining 246 were Palestinians. 66 were children and 39 were women. This total is expected to rise as they continue to pull bodies from the rubble. These numbers clearly demonstrate that the brute force and They demonstrate the brute force and power that the settler colonial state of Israel has. They are backed by our government, who gives them over $3.4 billion annually in aid. Palestine has no defense, no army, no navy, no centralized government, and with the Israeli occupation controlling their water supply, everyday movement with brutal checkpoints, and complete authority over what comes in and out of Palestine, our brothers and sisters are essentially in an open-air prison. They cannot even flee to nearby countries as refugees. Every nation has the right to defend themselves. Why is it that we are for Israel's right to exist but not for Palestine's? Did you know that on Google Maps, Palestine doesn't even exist? If you Google it, it will pull up Israel. Palestine has the right to exist, period. As a black woman, the global struggle for liberation is very dear to me. I learned from my predecessors, the Black Panthers, Malcolm X, and Martin Luther King. They taught us that an injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. And until there is peace in every corner of the globe, the fight for liberation will continue, day in and day out. Fred Hampton was a young Black Panther leader who understood the connection between injustice globally. He was able to form allies with several groups, and the most notable was the Young Patriots. It was a white Southern group. And they recognized that together, the powers that be want to oppress us all, and together, if we're united, no one can bring us down. And also unity, obviously, it threatens the powers at hand. And I care about Palestine because I am human. I care about my Jewish brothers and sisters because I am human. And what the Jews suffered in the Holocaust was beyond words. It shouldn't have happened, period. And they absolutely deserve a place to live and exist in peace without the threat of violence. However, that should never happen at the expense and at the cost of anyone else, ever. When you put your oppression above the oppression of others, you absolutely will fall into the very thing that you are fleeing from. You will then become the oppressor. And that is exactly what we are witnessing in Israel today. It is up to us to demand change, to speak up for the Palestinians whose voices have been taken away. We are urging Congress to act immediately. A ceasefire isn't enough. Israel must stop building illegal settlements on Palestinian land, period. Israel must stop building illegal settlements. Israel must stop bulldozing the homes and forcing the expulsions of Palestinians. Israel must stop violating the basic fundamental rights. As a country, as America, we must reevaluate the ways that our government supports and emboldens the colonial state and furthers its totalitarian rule over our sisters and brothers. I will forever stand in solidarity with Palestine. I want the world to know the truth about what is happening. We absolutely have the power to change it. Every single one of you here today, even if you tell one other friend about what is going on, that is a change. It's baby steps, and we have to get going, or we have to keep it going. This is a long game. It doesn't change overnight, over the weekend. This is going to go on, hopefully not too long, but if we know anything from our Native brothers and sisters whose land we are on today, this can go on for a very long time, and we have got to stick together and see how all of our struggles for liberation are connected. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! No justice? No justice! No peace? No peace! Palestine? Palestine! Will be free! Will be free! Peace.
Let's hear it one time for everybody who came out here today and shared their narratives with us. Okay, crowd, all got us to 357 letters. I hope you all can get us to 500 by the end of this march. Remember, your QR codes are listed everywhere. If you need any help, the white tent behind you is a place that you can get help with. And if you're stuck on which topic you should choose foreign relations. Okay, so if you need help, go to the white tent. They have the QR code there. We also got the QR code everywhere else. Click on foreign relations and send your letters. Oh, that's right. You could do that. I'm still learning technology. I'm sorry. I'm doing the best I can. Whoever has the airdrop idea, I know what you're talking about. I don't know how to do that. I know how to do airdrop. I just don't know how I could like share with a bunch of people that I don't have their numbers. Okay. Talk amongst yourselves if you can't find it. And I am so sorry. I'm embarrassing myself right now, which I do quite often. All right. Who's ready to march? Who's here for the resistance? Who's here to say free Palestine? Who is here to be with the Palestinians through and through? Who is here to save Gaza? Who is here to save Sheikh Jarrah? Who is here to save Masjid al-Aqsa? All of us are here today together. Our goal is the same. We want to march, but we also want to do it safely. And here is why. We have a number of people in our crowd that have different levels of citizenship. We don't want the police to infiltrate our crowd and potentially affect these people who have pending immigration cases. We want everybody to stay where they consider home. The next thing is we all come from a number of different ages and also from a number of different physical abilities background. That means that if you're at the front, you need to make sure that the back is still connected. If you start separating from each other, the police can infiltrate, and we don't want the police to divide us. The people united. The people united. Will never be defeated. The people united. Will never be defeated. I want you all to stay united. I want us all to recognize the different individual privileges that we might have, because at the end of the day, we're all in this together and we all have something to contribute to this cause. I got my brother, Mohammed Mozetawi over there. Let's hear it. That is the head. That's the head of the march. That's who we're following. You need water, go to the white tent. If you need to get the QR code, go to the white tent or talk to anybody around you. March on, be loud, be proud, and free Palestine.
Okay. Be back, I guess. See ya. There's Kenny. Look, there's Kenny. Kenny. It's Kenny. Oh, sorry, Eddie. Sorry. Hey, how are you, Artie?
Another day.
Another march. It's awesome, though. This is awesome.
I'm happy so many people came out today.
Yes.
I felt like it would settle down after the last
Yes.
week. This is great.
Yeah. It's not as big as last week, but it's still a lot of people. Well, I mean, over 1,000 people. Yeah. Okay. My knee is killing me. But I'm marching anyway. I'm fine. Okay. Brendan, there's Joel. Hey Joel. Brandon. Good job, Brandon.
Occupation's got to go!
good to see you. Yes, I'm glad you're here too. You said cut the plastic, right? And there's Johnny. There's Johnny, maybe. Hi, Johnny.
The
Let's take it from Jojo, hold on, let me show you something. Jojo, look.
Free Palestine! Long live Palestine! Free Palestine! From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. While you're shopping, bombs are dropping. While you're shopping, bombs are dropping. While you're shopping, bombs are dropping. Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Long live Palestine! Free Palestine! From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Hey, hey, ho, ho, the occupation's got to go. While you're shopping, bombs are dropping. Free Palestine! 2, 4,
Palestine will be free!
Yes.
Thank you so much.
You know, I say that every day, after every video. That is my ending. No, I mean that. It is our duty. I love you, honey. Okay. Long live Palestine! Hey, how's it going? Hey. Hey, how you doing, Steve?
Good.
Okay. Let's say
Good
hi.
day.
Hey, it is a good day. Another good day,
Fuck
right?
colonialism.
Yes, I know. I wonder if Sam's watching. Oh, look, Sam. I don't know if he's still
Hello,
watching.
Sam. Hi, Sam. I love you, Sam. I'll see you soon, bud.
All your shopping boats are dropping! Free, free Palestine! Hey, hey! Oh, oh! We all do it! Let's go!
Yeah, no, this is awesome.
It didn't seem like a lot of people at first, but then a bunch more people must have come because it feels like way more powerful.
It does. Yeah, it does. Doesn't it? Look at this. Oh, these people.
Palestine will be free! Free, free Palestine! Long live Palestine! Long live Palestine! Palestine will be free! Palestine will be free! Hey, 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 hey! The occupation's got to go! Hey, hey! The occupation's got to go! Long live Palestine! Long live Palestine! Long live Palestine! Long live Palestine!
tangled up in the flag.
Monday for court.
Oh, are you leaving?
No. Them.
Oh, them. Okay. Okay, there we go.
Allahu Akbar!
What did you say? Whoa, 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 whoa! Okay. I think he was just excited.
Yeah, a little loud.
Yeah. I don't think he meant to not put it in the park. Let's see. He's back in the car. Anytime, Mom.
While you're shopping, bombs are dropping! 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 Let's go! Free, free Palestine!
You got a friendly crowd.
Yeah, it's nice today. Yeah, nice today. No trying to drive summer, yeah.
What do you guys think about all this? What do you think about this? Yeah?
Good.
Currently in the occupied Palestine, Gaza Strip, the West Bank. It's unfortunate. Have you heard about some of the things that are going on, like Israelis walking into Palestinian saying, we're moving in. But it's 30 days late.
Israel occupying Palestine is a crime.
Check it out.
There's Brendan. Our protector. He's our crosswalk protector. Ground Palace.
Right? I don't think I've ever been this ready to get back.
I said Ground Palace.
Oh.
Have you ever been there? Oh.
I thought you said almost, like we're almost back.
Oh yeah, no, I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay actually. Trying to just walk slow. Just really tight. Tight. I love this. This is awesome.
It's good to see a big crowd out again.
I think more joins than when we started marching. Don't you?
It looks like it. I mean, there's a fucking ton of people. It's so bad I can't even live stream with my shitty service.
I haven't had any problems. I only have one person watching me right now.
Hey, big ups to that one fan, though.
I know who it is. Let's see. I wonder who it is. Oh, let's see here. Laura is the last one watching, so maybe it's her. Maybe. Could be.
Israel is a terrorist state! Israel is a terrorist state! Long live Palestine! Long live Palestine!
Did you get that done?
Because all their conversations are scrambled, so they don't actually know what they're doing. It is safe to assume that they're agitated, though. Probably. I mean, the majority of their time agitated.
We have two places got to go. Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
Yeah, I'm digging that. That battery looks like it's probably got
I know, it's really huge. It's huge. Hey, Donnie. Photographer extraordinaire. How are you? Look at this.
Hey, if you need a hydrate, stop by the car that's right there. We got water for you and some snacks. You're doing your job.
Isn't that great? Did you also? Oh, look at it. Oh, look at his eyes.
Good job. Yes, please. Oh, nice. Our buddies are here. Colorado voters, time takes charge. Elections are coming quickly. You can have some, yes. I'm going to turn down a donation, but they're, I'd rather, are you a Colorado voter? So are you a Denver voter? Okay, Denver. We have two issues. City and Denver address. Condos, we want more solar and wind. This is for the fallback. You saw Yes, there's lots of them. Don't be shy. Bags open. Is this yours? No. Wait, 2 lines? 2 lines, 2 lines. Voters, we need signatures.
We already signed it.
Are you Denver? Okay, so Denver voters, this is for more solar and wind. County. This is to reduce property taxes, and this one's to make sure that everybody that's not spent or sent over to the agency comes back to the state, There's 2 of them and 2 heads. Hi, are you a Denver voter? City of Denver? So I've got recycling for apartments and condos. We want to, let's see first. And so this one's for recycling of apartments and condos, festivals, and recycling back to sites. And this one's for solar and wind on the back of high energy.
Could you grab me a water bottle? Thank you so much. Thank you.
I see her.
Please just get in there.
Can you believe me? Can you believe I remembered your name? Well, it was my son's name. How can I forget that? That would be really bad if I forgot your name. Of course, take whatever you want. You want some water? Yes, of course, take what you want. We need a little replacement after the march. Was that fun? Yes. Okay.
Wait, just reach it?
We got ballot issues for city, Denver Well, yes, we're getting there. If I ask if you're a voter, Colorado voters, the property tax reduction. Okay, thank you.
You got me on that.
Oh, that was you. How you doing, sir? Okay, good, great. Enjoy the food. There's water too. Have you by chance a voter here in Colorado? Colorado voter?
Yes, I am.
I've got some ballot questions for trying to reduce property taxes across the state by the fall ballot. This one seems property taxes. And then on the other side, sanitize this one. Last name, two lines.
She was assigned security.
I got this. This one guy was yelling hate, and there was five Palestinian guys.
You also
What was he yelling?
What was he yelling? So we are reducing property taxes on the ballot to help homeowners with the tax burden. It's getting higher with the raise in rates.
So of course there's gonna be some.
Okay, are you?
Mom was in the middle.
This is
You got some Kool-Aid?
Hey, I'm gonna drop
the
restaurant. All right, let's go. That messed with my head.
Did you vote? Did you change your voting address yet? Then you use the ballot.
I need to fight for a little bit, but it's hard to carry.
How long have you been here? Did you get a new ID? No, you should be registered for your address. And then this one is more financial accountability in our government. So in this one, we want to return the money that an agency gets that they don't spend in their budget. We want to send it back to the Treasury so that the money can be used again instead of just disappearing inside agencies where we don't know what happens.
Okay, wait.
That's the question, right?
Here you go.
Yes, one second. Yes,
Okay, I got
You said you were.
you better call
Thank you for
me.
doing this.
Civic engagement, we need to be involved to make change in our world.
All right. So you changed your mind. You changed your mind. Okay, bye guys. Why aren't you taking this?
Thank you very much. Tell him to
Why aren't you taking this? What's the plan?
Okay.
Thank you.
Please, there's plenty of snacks. If you're Colorado voters, we have ballot measures, including a measure to help reduce property taxes. We're asking the Colorado voters to come participate. Fantastic. Are you a Denver voter? Perfect. So the first one is financing accountability by tracking money that doesn't get spent by agencies that need to be returned to the government and then be spent. So the other one is reducing property taxes. Property rates have like tripled in the last decade, and homeowners need some relief. How you doing today? You a Colorado voter also? You live in Denver? I've actually got 4 ballot measures for Denver voters. 2 of them are environmental conditions. One is to put recycling in apartments and condos. Have that, and just festival and that's this one here. And then on the back side is transitioning Denver to a carbon-free future. These books are the same. So that basically we get a cap, and so we get like 1,500 kilowatt hours of electricity, 500 therms in the summer of gas, 200 therms in the winter. We go over that, and we're not participating in solar and wind offsets, then we would pay extra. Businesses, corporations, homeowners, as well, to participate in solar and wind offsets. Now the great answer is that like Excel already gives us the chance to try to get those Excel already gives us a chance to participate in solar and wind. So as long as we're signing into those things, I got Walmart's that aren't. So these are these 2. They're the same. They just have to shoot the cloud like every off. This one is solar on the backside and recycling on the front. Are you a Denver voter or a Colorado voter? Okay.
Are you a Colorado voter? A voter,
You have lots of great buttons that help feed Denver's homeless and my donation. Folks, voters here in Colorado? So I've got ballot measures. Are you Denver residents or Colorado voters? Colorado. So we want to make sure that the money is being appropriated to agencies that aren't spent in the budgets come back to the state and are then appropriated to be spent.
Are you Colorado
and
voters?
The other one is to reduce property taxes across the state.
Hold that against him.
5% for property owners. Rates of property rates have doubled in the last decade. We need to
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you want? Oh, Isra, this is Adrian. Hi. Adrian, this is Isra, my sister. You're how old? 13? 14. I'm 12. He's obsessed with anime. I wouldn't say obsessed, but he likes everything you like, essentially. I'm not rude, I'm being honest. And then this is Noah. Hi. This is Isra.
I am obsessed with anime as well.
Nerds, huh?
Hey. Oh, weeds.
Zainab, you like haiku, don't you? Have you seen haiku? I've seen it like a bunch of times. Okay, I don't know what's the attitude for it, but get rid of it.
So you saw it a bunch of times? You caught up? Like, not just...
Go ahead and grab that. You want to grab that? Grab that. Yeah, go for it. I'm not going running this, but...
Like I am now.
I know.
Okay, yeah, catch up with that. I think that one's pretty good.
You also a voter here, ma'am?
Yeah, I am actually like 4.
Denver or state of Colorado?
Denver.
Perfect. These 2 are for you right here. One of these is to
I'm watching something. I just can't think of it. Who actually says
I just like very violent, which is weird, but like violent anime.
You will watch like
Death Note, Attack on Titan.
Pretty rating him.
Just depends on my mood.
Jack Rabbit?
It just depends on my mood.
yeah. Well,
Are you a voter?
I was about to little slice of life close. You've never watched actually slice of life. You have one of mine?
No, I usually just watch like more action.
Where's the action? That's fine.
Yeah.
By the way, this camera is live on YouTube right now.
Oh, it is?
Yes, it is. Thought I would tell you. They can hear what you're saying.
These are the ballot measures that we're working on for the state. One's to reduce property taxes statewide. The other one is more accountability in transactions. There's money left over in the budget. We want the state to put that money in a special fund so that we know where to Sorry, these are making a difference in our ballot. Hello, ladies. Are we Colorado voters by chance? City and County of Denver or the state of Colorado? I've got 2 ballot measures. One's to reduce property taxes, and the other one is more accountability. I want to bring money into the state when people that allows the state to spend
I'm going
Yeah, you get a diploma. You get an 8th grade diploma? She's not very athletic.
Out there earlier, the same patrol. I don't think you thought he was in a last round. One of these tables,
I didn't say you were worthless. I know. You did both sides? Oh, and you're a Denver voter. Oh, you need to do this one too. Here, let me do this one. So this is for composting, recycling, and apartments and condos. And on the back side is more solar and wind infrastructure. Miss Elizabeth. So I have never asked, are you a Denver voter? Yes. You are now. So are you okay? Stretch. Oh.
Well, I mean, if you don't believe it, Democratic Central. You have to develop a
Compost and recycling apartments and condos in the county of Denver. And then the other side is solar and on the back of an apartment camp. Yeah, please have some water, have some snacks. That's
what we have.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a national like community system. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, it is. We have a national.
What side do you love to? That's on the back side. It's carbon capture, so we basically get
Yeah, that's fair. I just like I never want to do this. It's going to be why I do it.
I'm election.
Internet,
my life.
We put out actual newspapers.
My voter. If you're not a Denver voter, I also have tax for Texas, property taxes, and more financial
She has pictures of the past. She's dumb. Yeah, Gloria's super dumb. She's always our president.
I like it.
Yeah, she's on the ballot here. Yeah. She's gotten the freedom. Peace and Freedom Party out of California. She's never
no. It's a felony.
Yeah, so I mean, so the socialist
take this job seriously.
See what you're thinking of
Hey, Coach. How are you, living?
Here to give the rundown.
Good to see you. Are you Denver or Colorado? So I have 4 for Denver. 2 are city and county. One is recycling in apartments and condos. The other one is more solar and wind infrastructure on the backs of high energy consumers. And then the state ones are to reduce property taxes and to have more financial accountability in unspent budgets.
Car is off limits until.
So basically, when a budget is unspent by an agency, they would have to send that money back to the state. It would be put in a private fund, not the general fund. So then the legislature would vote on how that money gets spent, and so it would be applied to it's a way to help out against
You don't see her around the film.
Yeah, it was so awesome. When I got my triple white paint on, I was like, and then what else? I did some family not that long ago. Yeah.
Glad you're held out.
And then this one is to reduce property taxes. Well, you know, Martin Luther King did I Am a Man. And so this is after Martin Luther King's I'm a Man, I'm a human. This is about So I've got a couple of ballot measures. We're trying to reduce property taxes for homeowners. And we've got the state fund. And we want to back to the state. Did you get Denver, did you get both sides? Hey, are you done here? Last one running. Trash.
I think I'm done. It was a wonderful day.
Water.
Wonderful day. Brian thinks I should be. I guess Brian thinks I should be done. Hey, Kenny. How you doing?
I'm well.
Do you think I should end my stream now? Should we say goodnight with me?
Yeah, it is kind of almost over.
Do you want to say goodnight with me? Because I always thought we did this today too. At least it made me cry. Elizabeth Epps, and she said, "Remember, it is our duty to fight for our freedom. And
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
Well, it's our duty to win.
It is our duty to win when we fight for our freedom.
We must love and support one another.
We must love and support one another.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
Say that again?
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
Yes. Chains.
Chains.
Everybody. Love you
Everybody,
all.
have a good
Great day.
evening.